should be good. The model looks really sick, though. What I like is that, what I noticed with some of the Hero Forge models is that the arms, unless you're not wearing, if your character's not wearing sleeves, the arms are really thin for resin. They snap really easily. And I've had a couple of those done, like, yeah, John's Chip Stibbins. There we go.
Oh, Hero Forge minis snap like that anyway.
No,
honestly.
but it's what I noticed is that it's specifically with arms, because legs you've usually got trousers on, so it's the actual circumference of the leg is wider, so that the resin actually bulks it out. But if it's too thin, it snaps super easily, even after curing. So, fun fact: if you got a resin printer and you want to print your own Hero Forge minis, wear sleeves. Give them sleeves, always. Unless you're doing like a Furbolg character or someone who's larger, then it's usually fine because their arms are quite thick anyway.
I mean, we've started the podcast.
Yeah, basically. It's a good cutting in point. Well, I mean, I've been live for the last, few minutes, and I also need to double check the tweet went out. Did the tweet go out? It did go out. Sick.
And I've got this one strand of hair. It's the only place it wants to go is directly in my eyeball.
Oh yeah, it sucks.
Emo.
Be bold.
There we go. Now I really am a Drakari player.
That is true. That is super true.
Got the Linkin Park on, ready to
slap on some fucking what's it called?
To,
like any song that was used for a Halo 2 montage back in the day.
It's some cancer bats.
Also, yes. Also, should really put the announcements in our new Discord server. We have a Discord server now. If you click on the button that says social underneath the stream, it'll take you. It'll be the invite link to join us on Discord.
Click it.
Huh? Did you click it?
I said I'm gonna click it.
Yeah, because you're not already in there. There he is.
Yeah, no, I wasn't even in there. Dang. Alright, cool.
Hang on, Alex, you're gonna have to give him the role of the boys. I don't have that power. We have a Discord. It's still obviously early days, but we're hoping to add some more cool stuff in there. Preemptive thing, but I've done this out of order now. Fucked it up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 18 of Off the Shelf Hobby Podcast. I'm your host for today, double vaccined up on a Tuesday afternoon. Thursday evening, should I say. Gaz will trade.
You're single vaccine,
I'm
asshole.
single vaccine. But I double cheeked up,
Yeah, but you ain't.
I fucked it up. I fucked up the joke, okay? Fuck you. Alright? My brain hasn't been working since Tuesday. Like, I have been staring at shit code for the past 3 days! And I had to just abandon it. So my fucking... As always, I'm joined by the Lord of Forbidden Knowledge, that is, Alex.
Wait, what? Am I?
I'd say
Christ. That's a lot of things to be responsible for. Yeah. I'm Vecna. I can't believe it.
It's clearly Vecna. We are also joined by the unfathomable one, that is, George.
Well, I could be fathomed.
No, I've tried it.
Nah. You've tried it.
Some measurements on me.
It's not possible. And then we have John.
What's up?
War Boss John. There we go.
No. I was good with the initial.
Just John. Just
John.
We have like it's like the D&D party where we have everyone who's got like super like weird sounding esoteric titles and names, and then their mate John.
Yeah.
I like that because he's like it's like he's an isekai, he's come from another world and he's just some guy.
It's just David.
Just Dave. It's like, oh, I'd watch that. That'd be a fun D&D campaign. To be fair, just have like everyone technically isekai because there are a few of them that are like that, aren't there?
And would highly recommend Dungeons and Daddies.
Dungeons and Daddies is one you've told me about.
Planescape is an isekai.
Is it?
Because
Planescape is an isekai pretty much.
Yes, it's you had no fate. Like your life was basically going to be like worthless. Basically, you have no fate, and there's like a thing in Planescape where they can pull someone who's got no fate, and like pull them from that and summon them to do stuff for them. So you just get teleported into Planescape, and it's like, alright, cool.
It's
do
literally
me
like
this
your
job.
destiny sucks.
It was
So-
literally you're that worse off.
Taking you away from things won't break anything. So
Yeah, you matter.
matter.
So if you get removed from where you are, it doesn't make a
0%.
difference. But now you have the opportunity. Now you have the chance to matter.
Yeah, that's a cool idea, actually. I like that as an idea.
let's get rules.
Yeah. And yeah, I've already kind of fucked up the order because we're talking about Discords and things. If you are watching this, if you're listening to this on Spotify or any other podcast platform, please follow the show. It really helps, and then you'll get obviously straight up to date when we upload a new episode. And also follow us on Twitch so we can get affiliate, and then we can make emotes and have weird rat papagas because we kind of have to. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well, and follow us on Twitter. Them's the ones. Until we use our Instagram again, which Chrissy is going to force me to do. I don't paint enough. I don't paint enough to put stuff on fucking Instagram.
Instagram's hard.
Instagram is hard.
I feel like to use Instagram, you need to like only use it on something that you have a notepad for, that you can copy paste a block of tags.
Yeah, just slam as many tags as possible. Yeah.
I do have a notepad on my phone with tags. So yeah.
Understandable. It's fine. I'm probably going to be dragging Chrissy to help out with that because she knows social media better than I do, especially Instagram. But yeah. What are we talking about today, boys? What's happening? What's going on in our lives?
We're waiting for more reveals.
More reveals. There is one this weekend, I believe. It's the animated one, and it's like cool.
They've got something big to show us
in animated form.
It'll probably be like a trailer again.
Yeah, basically.
With
And-
with nothing
I mean,
else.
I'll keep an eye on it, but I'm not gonna be like glued to my screen. I'm probably
I
just
think
more
it
gonna look at the article afterwards.
I assume it's an AOS animated series.
I hope that would be cool.
Why wouldn't
AOS
it be?
animated would be sick because there's nothing. They haven't got anything like that. At the moment.
It would be
Why
way
would it
better
be?
than
Why
any.
would it be?
It'd be way better than. Oh, because I mean, it's around that now they announced all the 40k ones, right?
Mm.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because there was
So
Blood
why
Angels
wouldn't they-
one, there was Hammer and Bolter, there was obviously Astartes being picked up. I think another one got picked up recently and disappeared off of
Yeah,
YouTube.
It was the excellent, yeah. That's one
Yeah.
of them. I want at the end of the day, an animated AOS series will look better than any animated 40k series because it's just like you can do more with it. I think. No,
Yeah,
sorry. To clarify, I don't mean CG animation. I mean specifically like 2D cartoon animation.
I can see that working.
Because
Yeah,
I think
people
that
who did,
it lends better to fantasy.
Get,
Overall?
was it Powerhouse? Get Powerhouse to do it.
Powerhouse.
The ones who did is it the ones who did Castlevania?
Oh yes.
Oh, fuck
yes. Fuck, that'd be sick.
If they did like a Cursed City animated series, fucking get right in there.
I
there's
will say. Oh, sorry, carry on.
Well, AOS has so many different. It's all connected in a way that makes sense, as opposed to 40k where everything is infinitely far apart from each other, right?
Yeah.
And it's all connected in such a way where, because of realm gates, everything can conveniently be. You can conveniently put anything in you need, right? But so they have the ability to make so many different types of animated shows with so many different themes, and aimed at so many different audiences. They're all very different to each other. That all feasibly take place in a world where they can be connected. It's like, let's do it.
Oh,
I
go on.
want a kid-style cartoon about Skaven.
Yes. Saturday morning Skaven.
Yep.
I'd watch that.
You.
It's like G.I. Joe, but with Skaven.
You do it, but you make you don't do it from the Skaven perspective. You make Thanquol and Bone Ripper like a mad genius Saturday morning cartoon villain,
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yes.
makes sense.
and then at the end of
You have a Stormcast being like, "Where's the Skaven? It's behind you." Oh, smash! Just immediately spin around and smash. I will say though, the Exodite looks really interesting because of the fact it's an animated thing specifically related to Tau and Eldar. Because most of the stuff would be Imperium, blah blah blah. But it's nice to see that we're actually having something related to.
Not Space Marines.
Like, not Space Marines. It makes it more of an interesting story. I will also say the Eisenhorn live-action series hopefully should be quite good.
What? They're doing what?
Did you not know about
They're
this?
Is it Eisenhorn?
Yeah.
The fuck?
That was announced ages ago that Eisenhorn got picked up.
They
That wasn't.
mentioned it.
Who announced
I
that?
I can't remember. It was definitely GW. Like it was on Hollywood Reporter as well. The writer obviously of that, so Dan Abernethy, I think that's how you say his last name, is actually contributing to the series as well. Because there was a video that came out recently by Ars Technica, which was just asking Dan Abnett specific 40k questions from the perspective of one of the writers, and then...
Oh, 2019, okay.
Yeah, so he mentioned that, obviously talking about Eisenhorn and everything else, and that's coming out, and that's going to be probably pretty sick, because the Eisenhorn series is, from what I understand, it is good character-driven stuff, and it's an Inquisitor, not a Space Marine, so there is actual threat involved with that.
Oh, Eisenhorn's apparently phenomenal. Like, there's so many. I've heard nothing but good stuff about Eisenhorn. So yeah, that'd be fantastic if they do that would be a really good TV series to do.
Yeah, do you see live action?
Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah, probably be a TV. It'll probably be TV series because of the amount of shit that's in there, just for detail's sake. I don't think a movie would work. I think a movie would be really jarring.
That
I know,
seems
you
like
could do
one
it.
of the kind of projects that would work really well with practical effects for nasties,
Yeah.
as opposed to
Like,
as
oh,
good
there's
as we can
a
afford
CG
CG.
dinosaur in front of me, but no, it's an actual like animatronic or guy in a costume.
yeah, like for example, if there was a Tyranid-esque thing, I think it would be a lot more impactful if it was Alien style
Oh yeah,
dude in a suit,
yeah. Jeans
as
just
opposed,
creeping around.
as opposed to as good as we can do CG.
It's mainly because it's the TV show CG, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
See, for a TV show, the best is to do a middle ground. Like a suit with CG elements is always the best TV show.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the cheapest.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
it's,
you're only
practical-
half making the effects, and then and the CG's just filling in the gaps at that point. It's not fully animating a rig. It's you give them a rig because it's attached to the suit, and then you can anchor points off of that. It makes it's a quite practical way of doing it. It's the same way that you
fully
do.
practical costume is fucking expensive, but obviously full CG is expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot of like when you see game dev mocap and that kind of thing. Obviously, there are like most of those, like say The Last of Us, for example. Most of those scenes are fully acted out, but obviously they've got the suits on with the anchor points so that they just kind of skin everything on top, and they've set the space out in terms of the dimensions and even the items. So if you looked at
fully make real super complex 3D models for the
Oh no, in addition to that, but it's that's something that happens quite early in the production before the mocap happens. So when it actually gets to syncing the mocap and the actual animation up, it's pretty much just slapping it all together, just slapping it on top. Because I watched I also watched the behind the scenes for Resident Evil 8 because I finished it and I had a behind the scenes video set in there, which was really nice. But it was seeing the bit where the lady Demetresque, sorry, she picks up the desk and fucking chucks it. And just seeing that from, like, the person perspective, where there's no animation, it's really weird. Because it's just this wire, like, this, like, it's like a square with poles on it, of just, like a frame, and she's just chucking it across the room. So it's that kind of thing. I mean, I have hope. I have hope for Eisenhorn. I have hope for series. We'll see what happens. If they announce something cool, great. Maybe we get an extension of fucking Astartes, like full budget behind it. If, in addition to that, they fucking upload it back up to YouTube, at the very least, on the GW channel.
It's on YouTube.
It's not.
No, not under Astartes. They just take it down.
Oh,
all the people that have been picked up by GW, they've had to remove all their content.
Wasn't there a whole thing of it got re-released onto GW and everyone was like, "Why is it green now?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah,
was
yeah,
it because it was on the community page? I don't know if it's on
that'll
the
be it
web,
then.
if it's on the YouTube channel for Games Workshop. That's something we'd probably have to check, but because that's why like a lot of them have been going missing off of YouTube, and obviously a lot of people have like there's a fuck ton of comments, likes, mainly the views themselves, And a lot of the main way to do that is to share it around on YouTube. And having to funnel people into a community site isn't going to happen because it's not a thing that you naturally would find. And you'd have to have stuff up there anyway, and then branch off through the people who are really dedicated. But you still need something that's widely available.
I think it will be
back.
on YouTube.
I
think
It's
it will be.
This it can't, if it's on their fucking shitty ass website, it can't pop up in someone's recommended feed, can it?
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid.
And you have to go hunting for it just to be able to watch it. And even then, it's like, okay, if obviously I've got a page open now. If I go, here we go, yeah, I go to the webpage, I go to the videos and podcast bit, and then there's Warhammer Animation, Astartes. And then I can sit there and I can watch all of it. And there's like stills, and it's one cut. It's not several episodes, it is one consistent cut now. Which is great, because a lot of people did that anyway.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like one long thing, wasn't it? 'Cause it's like...
And like, obviously, like, the music change that ended up happening, that's because of copyright and everything else. That's just so GW is protected. Understandable. And in reality, it still works. Because the bits that need no music have no music. So they're not fucking with it in reality, they're more just making sure that they're protected. Understandable.
Didn't they add music to it?
They've added music in places because just to I think it was the main reason.
They added it where there was silence before in some places. Yes.
Yeah.
There's that whole bit that's just like they go into the strike like craft.
The beginning bit.
Thing.
Yeah.
And it's like like they go into the vacuum of space, it's silence, right?
Yeah.
And then like when
and then
it like
drills
impacts, you know, it gives you that bit of extra thing. But there's music playing over the top. You don't have the same
impact.
It doesn't hit the same.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That I'm like not a fan of that. But I mean, hopefully when it comes to stuff later, that anything else that comes up from any of the Warhammer people, especially for the animation that's getting picked up, hopefully it appears on YouTube, and hopefully it's actually what the creators intended and not necessarily, we think as the marketing people, you should add this. And it's like...
I mean, we'll find out 6 months after the actual things get released.
Yeah, true.
When either someone does or doesn't throw a spat on Twitter.
Probably. Speaking of waiting 6 months, AdMech has got some rules. We've got AdMech rules, we've got the Codex up for pre-order this week coming. Soul Blight was last week. And also, we've got some pre-orders, for example. Radicar's now coming out. Pretty much all the Wolf stuff's now coming out. But let's go over some of the newsy bits. Probably the main bulk will be us talking about probably some of the AdMech stuff, because not much else has happened. Have I got to fix the cameras again? I do.
Yeah, I've definitely ruined that.
This is
why I bounced last week.
Yeah, there you go. Don't worry, all is well. There you go, I got George's eyes now.
Speaking of which, I'm getting a phone call from my mother. 1 second.
For fuck's don't cut down your camera off, I swear to fuck. Okay, apologies for any... There we go. Right, we'll go over some of the other bits first that have kind of come out. Mainly, these rumor engines that have been appearing. Specifically for the new faction for Age of Sigmar. Whether it's Chaos or Destruction, we don't know. It's still unclear. We have no fucking clue what it is. Looking at
that, it's definitely Destruction.
It's very crude. So for the audio listeners, this is probably going to suck, but it's what looks to be some sort of totem piece with like a stalactite mouth.
Big old metal face.
Big old metal face.
Metal face.
Yeah. And they've released 3 of these so far. We've had 3, and what's the countdown at now? Because they released a countdown. What is the date of when that would end?
Oh, it's next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Okay, perfect. Because that's as we said, that's going to be probably a reveal stream, talking about the new edition stuff and actually seeing what we get, which will be really handy. So that's the first one that they had, which was the big metal face with like some cool details on it. We had a hook hand, or a hook It could be either. Could be.
I think that's on the end of the staff.
It could be like it's just a hook.
Oh, I think it's like torture, right? It's not piratey. It's more like a torture utensil.
Yeah,
is
that's
what I'm
for grabbing
expecting.
things.
That's
Yeah.
those, I want to see, instead of a hook, I want to see the grabby claws that you get when you're a kid.
Man catches.
The one that's like a
oh,
shark.
romance.
Yeah, the shark one. And there's just a model with one of those, and he gets you. But then
Absolutely.
when he
I'm
gets
thinking man
you,
catches.
he gives you the plague. Probably, but yeah, it could be like a man catcher or something like that. I mean, again, rumor engines are rumor engines, but at least we're getting some glimpses of what's going to be, because the models they're showing off inside these rumor engines are most likely what we're getting in the starter set. You know.
Yeah.
So we've got, the big metal face, we've got a hook, could be of a hand or a stick or something, but we've also got a cauldron, what looks to be. I mean, that can't not be a cauldron.
That is a cauldron being stirred.
Yeah,
It's free
there's a
soup.
big spoon there, or something, on the top side of it. So, based off of what we've seen here, we know it's destruction-based. We've had previous conversations where, Alex, I believe you said could be hobgoblin-related?
So hobgoblins and orcs were the big rumors that I've been brewing for like months, apparently.
Mhm.
Obviously, I don't think it's orcs, because orcs already exist, and they would probably release some new stuff.
Yeah.
So hobgoblins make sense. I could see being hobgoblins.
I was going to say, are
I would
there
like- I
examples
would
of
like
hobgoblins
hobgoblin.
in...
Blood Bowl is all I can think of. Hang on, let me have a look.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know of them from Blood Bowl, because they exist, but hobgoblins in Blood Bowl are in the Chaos teams. They're in the Chaos Dwarf team.
Mhm.
Are they in current, up-to-date Blood Bowl? So not video game tabletop Blood Bowl.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
They are?
Are they?
I think they're the ogre. No. What's
No,
your
because
name?
those are nobblers. Those are
Shit,
little
no, they're
nobblers.
not. But hobgoblins have existed in
In
Warhammer
Warhammer,
Fantasy.
yes. So, because the same thing applies along the lines of the Fimir.
Yeah,
'cause
and
that's
Fimir
the
is
other
such a
option.
harder sell. It's
Yeah.
the thing. A Fimir is such a harder sell than a hobgoblin. A hobgoblin is just a long. It's just like martial
long
goblins,
goblin.
right? They're
Long
more.
goblin.
It is. It's
Yeah,
just a
they're more
long
long
goblin.
No, that's what
I
a
don't-
Noblar is.
No, the Noblar's the mini goblin.
Yes, dude.
Nobblers are tiny.
Snotling, Noblar, Goblin, and then
Hobgoblin,
Hobgoblin.
orc.
Is that like a poster, like an evolution sort of
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it's probably.
But-
Go back,
but-
I want to be Noblar.
the Darwin thing?
I want that now. I just sort of go back, I want to be, but it's just an orc at the end. Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, the more we talked about it, the more I'm kind of agreeing of the fact of the Fimir may be a harder sell because of the fact that the Fimir,
Weird.
throughout Warhammer Fantasy at the very least, obviously, Age of Sigmar rules mean things that could be completely fucking different, but
They won't be slavers. They might be slavers again. Or not slavers, but at least like capture
Fimir
people.
were one of the, like, in terms of Warhammer Fantasy lore, the original Chaos Worshippers. And having them as just a destruction faction with no Chaos links seems
Would
an
be
odd
weird.
choice. Unless they are doing the whole, we are bringing back this faction, but we're completely rewriting it. Which is something that they've done in the past. It makes sense. It's something that can happen. They've retconned things in the past, especially because it is, Age of Sigmar is something completely new. So if they were to come back, it probably would be in a situation where it could be this is something completely new. They're not Chaos Worshippers anymore. Ignore that. That's the world that was. These are the new Fimir who have kind of grown up in the realm of beasts and are just deciding, you know what? Cauldrons.
I mean, the Fimir stat block is destruction right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Huh. Because there is one, there's one on Forge World, isn't there?
There's two. There's a Fimirach Noble and a Fimir Warrior. They've got 3 wounds each, the warriors do, and they have the tags Destruction, Fimir, and Fimir Warriors.
So they're already destruction. So their retcon already exists. So, I mean, it's a model line that we've already seen, technically.
It's not a retcon.
Well,
Right.
I mean, because in fantasy they were chaos. They were
Right,
specifically only chaos.
They've
but
not
now
existed.
They're not
in Sigmar.
changing what happened
Yeah.
in fantasy. They're just
they're just saying they're
It's not a
destruction now.
retcon.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just different.
yeah. So, that was the other thing, is like, you know, we've already got the idea of the models, we know they're destruction-based. I would hope that when they do show the Femir off, that they're doing something really crazy with it. And considering the Age of Sigmar models that we've already seen, I think that's going to be the case. It's just, does it make sense? Is that something that is satisfactory to the Age of Sigmar players?
Really good.
Hmm?
Currently, Femir are really good, depending on how much points they are. Because they're -1 to hit with ranged weapons. They have a 5 feel no pain against mortal wounds, and they heal a wound every hero phase.
Interesting.
And they've got a weapon that's like 3 up, -2, 1 damage.
How many attacks?
3.
That's pretty nice.
With a 4 up save.
That's a good. That's a good stat line.
They're pretty solid. It's just from how much they cost, right?
The thing is, I would think what I will say, because I'm not really agreeing to like whether it's definitely Femir or it's definitely Hobgoblins, but I think the negative to the Hobgoblin point is, why would they be their own faction when the Goblin faction exists with trolls?
Well, why is Goblins their own faction when Greenskins exist?
I mean, that's also, again, similar kind of argument, you know? So it's like, it's the justification of, okay, how fucky can we get with Hobgoblins to make them have, like, a big range, or, like, not necessarily a big range, but, like, a range of a new edition, because most likely a faction in a new edition will get a good amount of releases to go with it, you know, and mostly phased out. We've seen this in the past. 9th edition was a key example with the Necron stuff, you know? So, in reality, it could go either way. It's a 50-50. We've got to wait another 2 weeks before we actually know anything.
And phased out.
I know, closer to a week now, though, which is nice.
That's true. That's true. Luckily,
but I don't know. I don't think. I think Hobgoblins is more likely than Femir. Maybe it's a mix of both.
They could be joint. That would make sense. They could just be the Swamp Dwellers. Or, like,
Well,
they probably have a cooler name, but they're like, the entire idea is that they all live in swamp, and everything in the swamp
Femir
is
just
going to
such a
kill you.
weird. Femir is just such a weird, like, cell. I don't know. Like with ghosts, right? They added ghosts to Warhammer, and you have the hero-looking fuckers, and then you have the naughty ones that look like the hero fuckers, right? The generic boys, and ghosts are also generic. It's why
it could like, are we entertaining the possibility that it could be something completely new?
Also possible.
Hobgoblins is close enough to that. But like,
Yeah.
I don't think
No. Is it like
new.
something that is not
Like, we're not even thinking on the same plane as...
They're not similar to something that we already have, just something completely different.
It's possible.
I would say I completely doubt that will happen. And the
I
reason
doubt it
for
too.
that,
I just want to know if we're entertaining their idea.
I think it's a thought to entertain. It's a new edition.
Well, no, it's a case of, like, completely new faction-wise, sure. But conceptually, no. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be a generic destruction army.
So, like, because if we think about it as well, when we've got, when the Nighthaunt were released, as we were already having that kind of a discussion, Nighthaunt already existed because spirit hosts and things like that existed. So they're like, right, let's look at that and then make a whole range based off the back of something that, like, a concept they already have.
It was literally, I think, Tomb Banshee and Spirit Host.
Yeah.
That was it.
But the concept of the design was already there, and then they just expanded on it, you know? So...
The concept was for them wasn't there. They were the actual what they are.
Yeah.
Other than ghosts.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What they were was completely new, right? But like ghost is generic fantasy concept, right? That's what I mean. Like a generic.
I'm just gonna get a quick picture of the Femir up for hang on, Forge World. Let's get a picture of the mini up just so for. Oh no, that's eBay. No, that's not what I want.
God, they used to have like.
That's the War Scroll. For fuck's sake, just get me to. Oh, I hate this. I hate Forge World. No, that's just the word Forge. There we go. Forge World.
Forge. Just get an image of a furnace.
Oh yeah, that's our new model.
Oh yes, we've reached it.
Our new model, hot.
Hot. Come on, load. Oh, there's the Dread Saurian.
And yes, Colossal Squig. That's what the new faction's gonna be.
Where is it?
Big ol' squig.
Where's the thingy? Where's the Fimir?
Set it to destruction.
It's not there. It's just Rogue Idol, the Trogoth.
Probably can't buy anymore.
Oh fuck. Okay. Well, back to Google.
Wait.
You can't buy like anything unfortunately anymore.
Well, it's just not even on there. You know.
Yeah, you can't buy brood horrors either.
So this is what a Fimir looks like. It's a it's a Cyclops based kind of got beaks. Blades on their tails. You'll know them from Total War Warhammer. They do exist in Total War Warhammer.
Give us the Fomoroids.
What? How do you spell that?
Fomoroid.
R-O-I-D. Femoroid Crusher.
Yeah.
Oh,
Femoid
these
Crusher.
fuckers, yeah. This is the thing from Warcry.
Yeah. Give us these.
They're pretty sick.
I mean, those are sick.
Yeah, they got the weird human feet as well.
They fit all the criterias.
Oh, having more of them would be cool.
Has one eye. There you go. That's the criteria.
They better be the next army. We hope it. Well, we'll see. Again, it's going to be an ongoing discussion up until, I mean, it's just theory crafting at this point until some fucker probably tries to leak it or something like that.
Well, until like a week from now, right?
Yeah, exactly. We just gotta wait. You know, they exist. There's not much else we can really say, I feel. Especially after these rumor engines, they're only getting glimpses of the models, so it's like, yeah.
Tell you what's gonna be in the news.
Yeah, the rumor engines are almost always kind of worthless.
Yeah.
Oh, Fimir was discontinued in November 2019.
Yeah, that's when they like.
They did a big purge of stuff back then. I remember,
Right.
Mainly because people were complaining.
No,
on Twitter.
if it's like a 2-year, if it's their like 2-year design cycle though, so they might be doing Fimir, but at the same time, why would you remove those models if you were doing Fimir? Because they weren't bad models. So
Well,
they're probably going to do plastic molds for them.
It's because they were the battle line.
true.
Yeah, that's fair.
They were the battle line and the character if it was an army.
Yeah, the Fimir Noble, yeah.
I mean, hey, you know, we'll see. We'll see. It's big. It's a big fucking question mark. But you know, I like to be surprised. I'm looking forward to the announcement.
Fimir, like, it's weird. Like, Fimir are weird to the point where, like, I think it would be a hard sell because they're just so strange. They're not like a generic thing.
It's hard to be excited about when you say, "Oh, the Fimir are coming out." What the fuck are they?
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to
same
attribute
time-
them to something.
But at the same time, it depends how they theme them, I think.
Yeah, because if you say, you know, like, "Oh, I'm really interested in," it's like, "Oh, they're releasing the Fire Slayers. What are they? They're dwarves." It's like, right, I've got a kind of an idea of what they are. Oh, the Lumineth exist. They are elves. And it's like, oh, you kind of get into base idea of here. When you hear the words Fimir, they're like
Sahagin, but like that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah. But even then, for someone, unless someone is actually, you know, who knows things like D&D, like monster manuals and things, when you say Sahagin, it's like, it's like, it's trying to attribute things to, like, you know, dwarves, elves, humans exist because, you know, you say orcs and you think, Lord of the Rings, you know, because that's a very wide berth.
It's just gonna be Zotes, isn't it?
I'd be down for Zotes. I think Zotes are cool. Especially because when they gave them the models in when they actually appeared in in Total Warhammer 2.
Oh, it's a long.
Yeah, because when they had that for the sub-faction, because they're really good. But you could only get them for the Wood Elves. They were like a mercenary unit for the Wood Elves, or a regiment of renown. That's the word. They were cool. Yeah. Speaking of green stuff, though, we're talking about this boy. We're talking about, what was his fucking Zodgrod Wartsnagger?
Yeah, Zodgrod.
The one.
The question is,
He's got some
Why are we
rules.
talking about this? Why? Oh, they showed rules this
They
week.
showed some rules. So let's have a go through.
I think this week I realized that I've hit the point with 40k where
You don't care. Yeah, you're just like,
yeah,
it's fine. I'm here
it's painful.
to just speak words at you. You can fall asleep for a bit, and then when we talk about Sigmar stuff, it's like, I'm back in the room.
Yep.
But yeah, so Zotgrot, his Gretchen steroid gun, and like Squigs, they've given him some rules. He's nicked, apparently, through a combination of shiny objects, enticing fungal treats, and a few vials of the Pain Boys special brew, which I love the fact it's called that.
That's what Scotland drinks.
It's what the North drinks. Just anyone like in the North is just like special brew in it.
That's what Scotland is.
Be a half pissed. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, there we go. So we've got a thing here, and I love the picture they're using, which is Grots and him staring down some Eradicators. And obviously, that may not go too well. But if we have a look at the Super Runts ability that he has, at the start of the first battle round, select a Gretchen core unit from your army to be Zogrod's Super Runts. Each time a model with in that unit makes an attack, they are +1 to that attack's hit roll, and the unit can shoot while performing actions. That is quite interesting, actually, to be fair.
That's so good, because that's the whole point of Grots.
Because you get them on objective, and they actually still get to shoot, and they're +1 to hit, so they're hitting on 3s?
2s, probably. If you
I think they hit on 4's base.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get +1 if you got enough of them.
Oh, they might get rid of that, though.
What, they're going to change Grots?
I mean,
why?
I felt the +1 if there's enough of them. I don't know if that stick around, but could still happen. Could still be a thing. I don't know. I'm waiting. I'm just kind of removing the existing rules until I see the sheet. I'm like, right, then this stacks. But at the very least, they're getting +1 to hit, so they're hitting on 3s, potentially 2s, going by if they don't get rid of that rule. And being able to shoot while performing an action is quite nice. Because if you've got them on an objective, you've most likely got a lot of stuff around them, or at least in front of them so that they're protected. Or at least not necessarily protected, but more there's a bigger threat to deal with, right? Or you've got enough of them, which is a good amount of shots, and you're doing an orc, probably like orc sub-objective, shit on objective number 3. You get, every time you shit, you get 3 points. And having all the Grots be able to do that and still fire with Grot Blasters. Grot Blasters is basically a las gun? Strength 3, I believe.
They're a las gun pistol.
I mean, to be fair, like, if they're in range to shoot at something, fuck it, why not? Hit on 3s with a good amount of shots. It's guardsman fire.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, guardsmen can't do it currently. I don't think guardsman squads will be able to do objectives and shoot at the same time. But having just being able to have a unit to be able to do that is convenient.
I feel like whenever they get a book, there's gonna be rules for that.
There'll be an order. It'll probably be like a thing, like your company commander gives an order to say, right, you can shoot while doing an action, because the orders. It depends on when they do the orders. If they do the orders in the command phase, then that makes sense. Because currently the orders at the start of the shooting phase, which I don't think, like, they would, if that still becomes the case, that's probably not going to happen, you know. Or it could be, or it's a unit that is already doing an action, you order them to start the shooting phase, that unit could shoot. You know, it'd be a wording thing at that point. But hey,
because can you shoot while doing actions, or does it block you completely?
No, when you're doing an action, you can't do anything else. Can't move.
Okay.
After you've moved to do the action, because it's the end of the movement phase, you can't cast psychic powers. If you could, you can't shoot or charge. If you are charged, then most likely you've already completed the action because it's the end of your turn.
Yes.
So in this case, you've got a unit now. You've got Grots that can do that. Which is convenient because, again, if it's last gunfire in a short range, great, you've got a good amount of shots coming out of them. There's not really much we can say about that, but hey, it's cool.
thing is, as much as it's alright, I wouldn't say it's great.
It's a gimmick.
It's a very non-rule to me.
Yeah, because I say, it's very meh shooting at 12 inches, and you'd have to be like doing an action for this to really count for anything.
Yeah. I mean, hey, like, even if they're not doing actions, they get +1 to hit. Fuck it. It also, because it's specifically Gretchen core, it implies the fact of, like, okay, so your normal base Gretchen squads are probably going to be core, but anything that is a Gretchen, like a smasher gun, any of the guns they have access to, like the big artillery pieces, probably won't be core.
Oh, but if they were...
If they were, you give one of those +1 to hit, you're fucking laughing. Because you can take them in units, can't you?
But I more mean just the thing of, like, take one of those units, and it can sit on the back objective doing an action while firing.
That's pretty good, actually, to be fair.
That's scary, but it's unlikely.
But yeah, it's unlikely because it is an artillery piece. That's kind of the entire point of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do have it, like, the Squig Stopper.
Yeah, so we've got his weapons, the Grab Zapper, which is his melee weapon. Type melee, obviously. Strength +2. -3 AP, flat 2 damage. It's a good amount.
It's pretty much a big chopper.
It's technically a power claw because it's -3 AP. Because a big chopper is a big chopper -3.
Big chopper's -2, I believe. Might be -1.
Yeah,
I can't remember. I haven't got it to hand.
Yeah, because I think a big chopper's -1. Because this is like power claw level, but it's a flat 2 damage and it's on a stick, so great. Because it looks like a power claw. You know, convenient. It's a good amount of. Hopefully, you're most likely as an orc, he will have a good amount of attacks, so he could be kind of a nasty. He could be an interesting combat character, but when you've also got things like, you know, your big mech in mega armor, or what was the armor called? Is it mega armor?
Yeah.
But it's your
new
war boss in Mega Armor.
Yeah, exactly. But you're gonna be like, he's more going to be the one that fights, you know.
Yeah, this is literally just as almost self-defense at this stage.
Yeah, but you got the Squig Stopper in addition to that. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy monster that's within 6 inches of this model and roll a d6. On a 2-up, it is not eligible to fight in this phase until after all eligible units from your army have done so. So on a 2-up, stops the monster from fighting. Now that's very specific because it's a monster.
6-inch range is really good for that.
It is.
How often
he can stand behind all the boys, hold it still while everyone else shanks it.
Well, it's also because he doesn't have to. Because of that, it's not in engagement range to do that. So he's great to just have walking behind stuff, as you say. Like, but
he's
the
probably
thing is,
fragile.
I don't know if he'd be fragile. I think the problem that we've got here is that it's a monster. There's not many monsters flying about. Unless you're playing things like Tyranids.
And even then, if there was a bunch of monsters flying about,
I mean, a Riptide's
how hard
a
is it going to be to avoid this one dude?
Pretty easily.
Just go around him.
But I guess the idea is that when you try to go around him, you've got all the boys or like also around them.
Yeah.
I would hope there's like, okay, this is a cool idea. Does a knight have the monster keyword?
No.
No.
What is a monster in 40k? Because this is the question. I always ask this. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no.
Riptides are fucking monsters, and I don't understand why.
Are they still monsters? Or are they fixed?
I think they're still monsters.
They're still monsters. I just like
because they were in the index. They were vehicles again, or something like that. I remember it was something like that. Okay,
they should be vehicles, but I think it's a holdover from 7th edition where they were monsters for the sake of
they were Genshin monsters, whatever they were called.
Yeah.
It's to do. I think it's more to do with how something would move. I think is the reasoning. So like a Riptide would move more like a monster, right? Because it's like a fucking big person.
Yeah.
Whereas a knight, although looks like a big person, it's definitely fucking slow as shit and
and you don't really want it in combat anyway. You know, and like, okay, I like the ability. I think it's cool. But it's a monster, So therefore,
Space
I
Marines don't have any monsters, do they?
Who?
Right? Space Marines do not have monsters, right?
None.
No.
Cool. Big demons are monsters for Chaos.
That's kind of okay. That's a good option.
Wraith Lords and
Yeah.
Wraith Knights are monsters for Eldar.
Okay.
The Talos and the Kronos. are
Talos, yeah,
monsters.
that's what I'm trying to think of their names then. They're monsters.
Because if you do it to actually, yeah, that's a point.
Necrons have quite a few monsters. I think.
Do they?
Maybe they don't. Maybe they have none.
I'm assuming a Catan is a monster,
That's
like
what,
Catan
the
is a
Void
monster.
Dragon.
that's what I'm just checking.
Actually, to be fair, you make a point at least when it comes to the Drukhari stuff because, like, you know, a lot of the homunculus stuff is a monster. So that would be a good thing against it.
The thing is with 40k is that if you would think something is a monster in 40k, it probably actually is, which is nice. It's not like Sigma where like
Every time in
isn't a
Sigma, I'm
monster.
like, is this a monster? It's like, it looks like
Well,
a
no,
monster,
'cause
but it's not a monster.
Because it's genuinely hard to know in Sigma. But I get why, because what is the difference, especially for destruction?
It's got to be like big enough in Sigma.
Yeah.
Like something that for all intents and purposes is a monster in Sigma. It's just not big enough to be classed as a monster. Like a rat ogre in 40k is a monster.
But long story short,
Mm.
not a lot of things.
No.
It's a very specific rule.
Yeah, it's a situational
rule.
rule. It's a cool rule. I love
Yeah.
the idea of, like, right, fuck you, you're fighting last. And there are some actual good cases where this would, especially if you're going against armies that want to be in close combat with you, could that might have the monster keyword, or probably may have the monster keyword, obviously Drukhari being one. I mean, you mentioned Eldar, the Void Dragon turning up, that would be kind of convenient. You know, make him fight last is pretty good.
He's just gonna kill you first, though.
Or at least you could probably snipe him off. He's probably going to have, like, he's probably going to times arrow and, like, on a 6, he's dead, you know. Like, he could have 6 wounds, we don't know. I hope to see, I hope that in the Orc Codex we see more things like this, because that really helps a close combat army. And that's what they are. They are a close combat army. And being able to manipulate when you fight, to like, right, this unit I know you're going to interrupt with, they have to fight last, because fuck you. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that means I can just do all my attacks. It means that you're controlling the board state. But the likelihood of an ability existing like that is low.
I will say, just so you say that they are a close combat army, try telling that to the Bad Moons. They got all the Daka.
That's true. They do have all the Daka, but they've still got some axes in there. You know.
I don't see this getting much use, if at all. Even
I'm looking forward to people painting it.
Yeah, I hope to God that there's a rule that they haven't shown. There's something about him that makes him great. But at the moment, it looks like very much, as you said, Gaz, a nice piece to paint and put on your shelf.
I mean, considering what he looked like before, I mean...
I did like how they showed the comparison.
Yeah, there he is, and this is what he looks like now. It's a big glow up.
Old orcs.
Yeah, we can hope. We can hope. We'll see, because we're gonna have the orc stuff coming out soon. We just got a fucking big weight on that. Right, the meat of the show, and most likely what's going to be cut up the most into clips. Admech. Admech have had a slew of reveals this week, because obviously their codex is coming up for pre-order, so that means reviews from any partners people will be coming out on Saturday, and I'll be reading them intently. And a lot of it is kind of, there's some fundamental changes to the Admech. So what we'll do, and we will think about this only in context of what has already exists. So ignoring the 8th edition codex, ignoring all of that stuff, because obviously it's not going to exist anymore. Let's have a look at what they've got. So they've shown off currently what the Forge World Dogmas are, which are your, in terms of Space Marine stuff, your chapter tactics, your homunculus coven power, whatever. Like, it is your overall army rule for your sub-faction, and then also showing off specifically what the canticles do. So, hang on, I think... and also, they've also shown off some Crusade stuff, which I actually do want to kind of look at. At least, I want to make a slight mention. Because there are some changes. I think there's some relics that are disappearing from the main book and going into Crusade instead. Like the Orta Caduceus of Arkan Land is a Crusade relic now. So, fuck you if you ever... Because that was the one relic you took. It was the
Is that the engine roll one?
No, that was one of the base rulebook, which was if you're healing a unit, you got to re-roll the D3.
Yeah.
But everyone took it because there was no other good relics. But yeah, let's have a quick breakdown of what's going through. We've already had some initial discussions, especially when this came out. Just having some initial mentions and talks about that. So we'll go through them in brief, and just kind of discuss them afterwards. So Mars, the big boy, the big red orange. The Masters of the Forge is their dogma, and they have indicated with this release that canticles are changing. They're not going to be what you would expect, but there is a reason for that. Because Skitarii are getting some of their own goodness, and we'll get to that in a bit. But Skitarii, specifically within Mars, will get the canticles. So Canticles of the Messiah will be applicable to your entire army if you're playing Mars.
The Skitarii have become Catholic.
Yeah, and each time a unit with this dogma is selected to shoot or fight, you get a reroll 1 hit roll when resolving those attacks. Just a flat, you get a reroll a hit roll per squad. Similar to Death Skulls. You know, it's convenient. It's a nice one, just because then it kind of allows for more reliable shooting, especially on your heavy weapons. Convenient.
That seems to be rules like that seem to be becoming more and more common. I know Drakari had one for the Obsidian Rose that was
or at least there was a sub faction that allows for rerolls in terms of especially armies that didn't really have access to a lot of good rerolls, like Drukhari really needed it. Admech, on the other hand, got a lot of rerolls available to them.
Yeah.
But it entirely depends on how much has changed and whether they get access to those rerolls anymore. And I have a feeling those I've got a weird suspicion in the back of my head that Tech Priests will not be giving rerolls out. What I think they will be doing is giving them the other new abilities that will then provide rerolls. But then you do it on select units. That's kind of what's going through my brain box. But this gives you obviously it's just a convenient.
Wait, you think Tech Priests will have like an order?
Not an order, because no. What their new thing is that for the Skitarii units and obviously the Canticles, Canticle already gives the ability for a reroll. So
Not
just
always,
having more,
right?
Before we had to roll for it, I think it's now. I think it's a thing you pick, but the Skitarii one. I know it's weird. It's a weird thing I've got in the back of my head. I don't think it's going to be like an order thing. I think it's going to be a.
Tech Priests might not do anything for Skitarii anymore, right?
Yes.
Is what I mean.
Yeah.
But,
actually, no. This it depends on the Tech Priest. A Dominus definitely would be able to, because that's the kind of the point. Because they do specifically command Skitarii.
Dominus. So, keep in mind, in 7th edition, when they were two separate factions, had no HQs. You didn't take the Dominus. They were nothing to do with Skitarii whatsoever, and they are going back to that. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's why the Marshal
I think it would be. Yeah, that's why they added the Marshal. So I have a funny feeling that they won't cross over very well. I hope that's not the case because I think it's shit design.
I think that there is crossover. There is crossover because of some of the other things they've shown off. So, but let's move forward.
I know. I mean, Mars, I hope it's not janky on the data sheets.
Mars being Mars, it is the reliability. Obviously, Wrath of Mars is making a return, but thank everyone. The 6 Castellan thing is probably still going to happen, but it's not going to be as painful because Wrath of Mars has changed so that it's still the same process. However, if the power rating of a unit is more than 11, then 11 or more, then it's 2 CP to be able to use Wrath of Mars, or otherwise it's 1, and in addition to damage from mortal wounds is capped at 6.
That's a high power level.
That is quite a high power level because there are very specific units that are obviously the 6 Castellans that you would do that to. It also depends on how much for other units, where it could be still very viable. Infiltrators were a good example. Phosphor torches are a great one because it's on the wound, not the hit.
Yep.
So there are examples of it could be used elsewhere. However, it's capped. It's good. It's not completely bonkers. Thank Christ. However, Wrath of Mars was 3 CP in the original codex. So it was 3 CP, yeah. But the thing is like, you were always doing it. At least you only really needed to use it once, because you used it on the turn where he's like, right, I need to kill this one specific thing.
Actually,
no, it was 2 CP. It was 2 CP, I'll tell a lie.
I was gonna say, I still think this is gonna be used.
Oh, it's going to be used a lot, but the fact it's capped means it's capped efficiency.
I don't think you're taking Mars as much anymore, though.
I think you will be. And
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a bit. But I think Mars is, as it is, the flexible, the reliable. That is what Mars is. The relic
Say minus 5 AP.
on a power, because it's the Omniscient axe, which is really funny. It's a replacing for the axe. It is the red axe, because it's technically like the same size as Cause 1. The idea of it is, so yeah, +2 strength to that. So at Tech Priest were already strength 4, but you can make them strength 6. You could also give them, thank you Zubaz for the follow. You could also give them +1 strength from mechanicals or potential other abilities. So that means you can potentially get this up to strength 7 with this axe.
+3 attacks.
Yeah. -5, flat 2 damage, an extra 3 attacks. And to be honest, a Dominus already had 4 attacks base. That's 7 attacks with this weapon. That's a good item to take on him.
That's great.
That's
If you've got... This is good to be on a character that you know is going up the front, but it also depends on where your support is coming from in terms of characters. If you've got a Manipula staying back, obviously, he has an Omniscient staff, so he's not going to be taking this, but you will be getting...
This is the beat stick.
Yeah, this is the beat stick. You put this on a Dominus who's walking up the field. Because in reality, Dominus are actually, as George would know from the games that we've played, Dominus is pretty scary. They are, and I love it.
They used to be hard to kill. Now I can walk up and kill them instantly. But like,
that's true.
Yeah, that's more of Necrons getting a toy rather than anything else.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, that's your standard. That's your standard melee weapon relic now.
Yeah, but it's a good relic. It's a good option.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah, it's a good thing if you had a CP to give, to be able to just give someone.
They're all really good. Is the thing. Because you got the Blood Axe for Crowns, and you've got the. I was gonna say the blood chainsaw for sisters.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, the Tritic Whip
as well for Drukhari. So yeah, everyone's getting one. It's going on the most reliable. That's fair enough. Next up we have Lucius. Lucius are more of the... These are the more resilient. These are the ones that are using the higher spec weapons, and this is reflected in their Dogma. Each time an attack with a damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to the a model with this Dogma, +1 to your saving throw. So if it is only 1 damage, regardless of AP, +1 to your save, which is very good when you stack it in terms of cover. This means that your Castellan robots and also breaches, which are now going to be in my opinion the breakout unit of this. They're going to be fucking crazy because they have a 2-up save. It's going to be really hard to kill them if you take them in
fire.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like that means you have to dedicate large fire, which means you're not dedicating it elsewhere. The thing with that mech is that you have a lot of threat on the board in different places.
A lot of them have multiple wounds, though. You're
Exactly,
gonna just like blast anything that's not a Skitarii with multi-damage weapons.
I was gonna say, I think more and more armies, or at least especially in 9th edition meta, it's just becoming more and more relevant to have those multi-damage weapons.
I will say as well that at least in terms of anything that's lots of it's a good thing against sheer weight of fire. But again, if it's multi-damage weapons, that means target acquisition for your opponent comes into play, and it also means that if you spread out your threat across the board, that means they're not going to be able to deal with... They'll deal with one thing really well, but they'll have to basically leave the others behind, So that's your kind of benefit here. And also...
it's the full army, so, you're getting this benefit somewhere or another.
Yeah, true. But in addition to that, +3 range to all range weapons that have this Dogma.
They're so small.
It's pretty small, but it helps with we are gaining a lot of rapid fire and things changing to heavy.
Yeah, army-wide, that can make a huge difference.
Because that's also what the buff... I want to point out, the Manipulus buff, which was crazy bonkers, was only 3 inches to a ranged weapon for a unit. But that is enough sometimes to just reach out and touch stuff. And that also means you're not having to move up as far, and it kind of goes for that being slightly better protected you know, because you can reach out a little bit further. They're also
castling.
yeah, it's a moving castle at least. They're also one of the only ones that get a teleport stratagem to be able to deep strike.
The Manipulus was +6.
Was it +6? I thought it was +3. What was the +3 for? Was it the movement?
It's +1 to the movement.
Yeah. I was thinking there was a +3 from somewhere. I can't remember.
It was it's a 3-inch range.
That's why I'm getting confused. Apologies. I wish I knew my own army. But yeah, Lucius are also the one that they're the only unit in the Admech Codex, or the only army sub-faction that have access to a teleportarium. So in terms of your deep striking, it comes from them. There's not much to say, but it's a tough gun line, and you're kind of shifting them up, but you have, you know, options to be able to teleport stuff around if you can. You know, great. You can use this twice in 2,000 points. So competitively speaking, you got 2 teleportarium slots. Agrippina. Agrippina?
Agrippina.
Thank you. I always read it as Agrippina, I don't know why. But also, I love the pose of this man. He's the best pose. These guys are... These ones are slightly scarier, because if you thought the last one... yeah, there's some toughness. These guys are tough at range. Or at least... Yeah. No, these are more like kind of killy in a sense. Just kind of going through... These are your servitor ones. These are the ones you really kind of want a lot of servitors in. So your cataphrons... yeah, you're just cataphrons mostly. Mainly because their dogma is each time a model with this dogma makes a ranged attack that targets a unit within half range, +1 AP within half range, which makes arc weapons quite scary. And then also in addition, each time an enemy unit declares a charge against a unit with this dogma, if it's not within engagement range, it can hold steady or set to defend outside of cover.
We'd love to see it.
Which means at the very least that if you're holding is it set to defend, which allows you to Overwatch on 5s?
I have no idea.
It was one that allows you to Overwatch on 5s with potentially with the amount of shots that has coming out of one of these units. It's pretty nice. Just to be able for the entire army to do that.
Gonna say, and also that'll mean that it gets the extra armor penetration.
So it combos really well in terms of the short range stuff, and there is a good amount of stuff. Luckily, that's extended a lot of its ranges. But then also when you got things like torsion cannons, which were or the grav stuff, being able to that's 24-inch range, and that's +1 AP to that. Arc rifles then going to -3 on the heavy arc. There's some really good things, especially when you got not galvanic rifles, radmium carbines. Radmium carbines getting built-in AP at within half range. And they already had an 18-inch range on them anyway. That's pretty nice. There's a lot of shots coming through at you. And that kind of, when I mentioned about the servitors, that goes into their indentured machines, which is their stratagem, which allows you to pick a servitor unit in your army and add +1 to its toughness. You can do this twice in 2,000 points. And 3 times in Onslaught, which is 2001 plus. 2001.
I love it.
I think that's what the bracket is.
Yeah,
but, that's really good. Be able to do that for twice, and you're considering how servitors are going to be really big in this for this codex. +1 toughness to them makes them toughness 5. I think they're already.
Yeah,
they're toughness 4 currently.
Pain.
Yeah, that makes them
really?
especially breaches at the moment. Breaches are going to be fucking scary.
Breaches are T5.
Oh, they're T5. Oh, T6 then. Fucking T6 on those fuckers. Oh, I love it.
I feel like that makes it matter less.
No, because that means strength 10 weaponry. It does kind of push it a bit over.
Last guns now 106s. Rather than 5s. You're not gonna shoot last gun for them anyway. But
heavy bolters also been on 5s now.
That's true. Yeah, that kind of ups the heavy bolters, and they're actually prime targets for heavy bolters because they have 3 wounds each. So there are places for that. The fact you can do that if you got, the minimum size unit is 3. You can take them potentially up to, I think 9 in a unit. Obviously that's a big point investment, but hey, you got a big unit of 6 floating about, which was what most of the competitive lists had. Make them toughness 6. They're not fucking going anywhere, and they're troops. They may chain them off. I think they won't keep. I think they'll keep them in troops. But hey, like they're sitting on objective. They ain't fucking moving.
They'll be the troops for the tech priest side of it, right?
Yeah, they're Cult Mechanicus troops. Yeah. In addition, they've got the Eye of Zelexum, which is at the start of the shooting phase, select an enemy vehicle unit within 18 inches of the bearer. Until the end of the phase, the bearer gains the following ability. While a friendly Agripna core or Cataphron servitors, so Cataphrons may not be core, which is weird to me.
I mean, they won't be.
Yeah.
Surely.
Is within 6 inches of this model. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack that targets the selected vehicle, you can reroll the wound roll. They meant like good thing because considering they mentioned Cataphrons, Arc Claws being able to reroll your wounds is pretty nice because they are most likely wounding on a flat number because they are arc weapons. Very convenient stuff if you really just want to be within 6. It's specifically a vehicle, so it's got very specific uses.
I was gonna say that's an odd rule to me because it's if you've got this within this distance and then you got these guys within this distance and they're that far away from him, then you can get this off.
It's a lot of like circles and like measuring and shit.
Yeah.
It seems slightly whatever this is.
Yeah, exactly.
Measury, like this is the word I came up with. But, you know, they are an aggressive, like they say aggressive, and they're great for taking on heavy armor. Yeah, because they're probably going to be like, this is where if you want to take... This is a good option to be able to take a lot of breaches. And also...
Honestly, this seems like the best one, at least that we've seen so far.
So far.
That, for actually moving your Skitaria and holding an objective.
Imagine moving your Skitari. Fuck.
Which... Insane.
Oh, we'll get on to the ones if you really want to move shift along. But we got... we'll get to Grya. Grya were the ones that had the anti-psychic stuff, and they're also the higher morale ones from the original book. Now it is, each time a combat attrition is taken for a unit with this dogma, it's automatically passed. And each time a model with this dogma would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, they have a 5-up ignore on mortal wounds.
Doesn't this just suck?
Yeah, that's rubbish.
It was it's okay.
The battle shock. Cool. So is pretty much everybody else.
Yeah.
But Skitari weren't immune to battle shock. But
they are. They never take them because they just die.
Oh no, true. You are always usually running them in small units. In addition to that, they got Steel Mind, Iron Logic, making a return. 1 CP. If a Grya unit is within 18 inches of an enemy psycho who's manifesting a power, 4-up, it's denied.
That was really good.
That's quite good. It's quite clutch. Just to be able to, like, fuck you. Because there are some gun where, like, you just wait until, like, the linchpin power comes. Like, right, now I'm denying this. And hey, it's a 50-50 chance. Like, for a CP, that's worth.
Yep.
The relic that they get is the tech priest only add 3 inches to the range of the bearer's aura abilities to a maximum of 9. Each time a bearer uses an ability in your command phase that specifies a range, plus the range to the plus 3 inches to the range of that ability to a maximum of 9. So, it depends on what the auras are, what the abilities do, but hey, being able to, like, because that's usually your reroll bubbles within 6, and then you had to take a Mart. There was a thing for Call, which allowed his to be bigger, but there was no other way to do that for your Dominus or anyone else. So hey, you got a relic to do that now? Cool. I don't think... They're just more the anti-psycho one. I think these aren't going to be seeing much play. But you could take a detachment with some Grya just to have, or in reality, I'll tell you what does the same thing as this. Take an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm giving them a strong eh.
A strong low tier. Styges 8. The Xenofuckers, the ones that love making stuff. Technically heretics, but it's fine. These are from original one. They still had the good version of the Raven Guard rule. Because that never got changed for them, so it was still outside of 12. They were counted as being, I think they were -1 to hit originally, but now obviously that's been changed to involve the cover. But it's still technically the same. It's long-winded. I will give you the summary. If you're attacking a vehicle that isn't core, and it's more than 18 inches away, you have dense cover, so you're -1 to hit. If you're attacking anything else that has the core keyword and you're more than 12 away, you have dense cover. If you are charging with this unit, with any of your units, they cannot hold steady or set to defend. So they can't get +1 attack in close combat or overwatch you on 5s.
Hey.
It's a better version of what... It's a 9th edition version of what they already had. Being able to have that dense cover can be sometimes quite clutch, especially for your vehicles. And it doesn't give it to vehicles specifically. And like your Onaga Doom Crawlers, your transports being always counting as dense cover for first turn is really fucking clutch. What's the range on a the Dark Eldar?
Darklands.
That's the one, thank you. What's the range on that?
6, I believe.
So
36, I think, yeah.
On turn 1, if you position right, your vehicles are protected from Dark Lances. At least they are -1 to hit, which means they're hitting on 4s, but that's better than nothing.
It's 36.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're moving, what, 16? I think, plus they're advancing,
like
but if they advance, then, that's a different thing entirely. They can't shoot.
God, it's worded in such a weird way.
Yeah, it's worded in a very specific way.
It's everything in your army gets dense cover if it is more than 12 inches away.
Yeah.
Unless it is a vehicle
that's not core.
That's not core, yeah.
Then
and then in which case
then it's 18.
It's just then it's the same thing, but just 18
It depends
inches.
on what vehicles are core.
It'll probably be the transport.
Yeah, the transport's gotta be, right?
I would hope. Onaga Doom Crawlers, probably not. Castellans, definitely not.
No.
Well, they're not
the tank versions of the transports with your missiles at the front, they probably won't be core. But it's specific. It's super specific, but that's a good thing for rules writing at least. It means like as long as you know what is and isn't core, you know the ranges, and then you can measure
saying though, it's a worse version than what they had last edition.
I mean, it's dense cover. Because that specifies. Because before it was everything outside of 12. Yeah, outside of 12 was -1 to hit you.
Cool, and the boards are smaller.
Yes, true.
True. Double nerf.
It needed enough. It did need enough, but I think this is a good rebalance using the rules that they've added.
I don't think it needed enough at all. At the end of the day, the game's a shooty game, and shooting defense is nice.
I think this is a good. I think in reality though, it's a good balance. They also have their infiltration back, and it is the good infiltration. It's pick anywhere, more than 9 inches away, but you can only do it once. So yeah, pick a unit, they get to infiltrate wherever they want. Well, obviously, more than 9 inches away from the deployment zone and enemy models. So cool. It's the good. They had that first, and then it got changed, and now they have it back.
My worry with this, at least with those sort of initial Dogma stuff, is it's encouraging you to stay away from the enemy and to stay back and to not push objectives.
Yeah, but the thing is, the infiltration is like you are wanting to push objective, and it's like it depends on what is pushing objectives.
Well, yeah, everything wants to push objectives, but what I'm saying is if you push objectives, you lose that ability. And therefore, you're kind of getting punished for playing the game.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But the thing is, they've
I may be
always
completely
been
wrong.
like
Some
that.
people may find a way to absolutely wreck this, but I still don't see anything that comes close to the guys who are anti-charge, anti-close range.
What this works for is your turn 1. Your turn 1 going into turn 2. Because those are the most important turns, and then when you're up the board, it doesn't fucking matter. Because, like, before
you've already won turn 1, turn 2.
Yeah,
so
because you're already in their face, or they're in your face. As long as everything's not dead at that point, you're fine.
But counterpoint for that is, though, your enemy and the other options you could have taken on those turns, they still have a rule that's useful, and you don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I think this is
I
kind
don't
of
think it's
supporting a
completely
more
I
aggressive
don't think it's
playstyle.
bad.
It's not bad, no. I think what it's doing is that it's supporting the playstyle that people used it for, which was get your transports filled with your priests, get them up the board, make sure they're safe, get them into combat, because AdMech have actually got some really good close combat options, and making sure that they're secure to get to that mid-board where you form your new gun line. That's what this is for. And then, obviously, because at that point... And you also got to consider, after this thing, yeah, they may have their Forge World Dogma, but they will have Canticles, and they will have the new Skitarii thing.
It's the case of the most important thing that they did have for that to work was it was mainly for vehicles, not for infantry. And it's been nerfed on vehicles. Yeah. So it's a bit...
again, it's a balance. It's a rebalance. I'll see it working, but...
It's a straight nerf. It's not a rebalance. It's a straight up nerf, right? It's just worse. Yeah. I just don't think it needs to be.
Anyway, what's the
Dark Elder?
Yeah. Relic. Once per battle at the end of the fight phase, you can use this relic. If you do so, roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 12 of the bearer. On a 2 to 5, it takes a mortal wound. On a 6, it takes d3. You just get to nuke everything around you for a turn. Cool. It's a one-use thing. Stygies will probably be a lot lower based off of what we already discussed, but hey, it happens. Riser, on the other hand, was already strong before because of their plasma bomb, and I think they're going to get better because I think Admech's close combat capability is getting far better. And let's go through why. So, each time you make a melee attack, if it has made a charge move, was charged, or has heroically intervened, +1 to the wound roll. That's really good. +1 to charge with everything with this Dogma. Also really good.
Yep, those are nice.
Yep. Plus you get plasma specialists, so it's similar to Weapons of the Dark Age. You get +1 to damage with your plasma for a specific Rise unit with shooting. So your Cataphon battery full of heavy plasma, great, that's damage 3 on overcharge. Amazing. And you're not blowing yourself up anymore, so this is way more reliable. It's 2 CP. Yeah, that's a good... I'd probably go for 3. I think the amount of shots you can get out of that plasma is pretty high.
Yep.
But hey, Rise again, going strength and strength. This, I think, is going to be really good for Castellan robots get into combat. Your breachers with arc claws, infiltrators, electro priests, all your close combat stuff that is actually really good is getting better because they're +1 to wound when they charge. After that, as soon as they've charged, they're fucking dead anyway. Because you've charged stuff you know that's going to kill you. Well, I think also, one extra thing that I think works really well with these are the Taraxi. Because the Taraxi with the Flamers, when they charge, getting extra attacks, they do a really good amount of damage. +1 to wound as well.
Kill the things that you're in range of with the Flamers, though.
Yeah. But I think, because the thing is you flame one thing and charge something else. They're more like a multi-charge thing. But hey, your Electro Priest getting +1 to wounds, always good. The shocky gauntlet ones. Castellan robots getting +1 to wound is also really good. Because obviously they've got fucking big power fists on their hands. Great, go for it. Their relic is a weapon. It's a Volkite blaster. I'm not gonna say because it's Roman numerals. It's I don't know what that is. Weapon blah. Volkite blaster replaces the Volkite blaster because the Volkite blaster was strength 6 and it's not great. 24-inch range, heavy 3, strength 7, AP 2, 2 damage. And if it makes an unmodified wound roll of a 6, inflicts 2 mortal wounds in addition. Previous one was, if it was, you take a mortal wound on just 1. That's good.
Yep.
That's a good relic. Yep. It's a good shooting relic, and it's very appropriate because the Volkite blaster is cheaper on a Dominus. And it's a better range because the previous one was 18 inches. Great.
That's just nice.
Yeah, it's just a good, solid, close combat option. Now we go to Metallica. Metallica are the ones that had the supplement, which came out. We'll go through them because now, obviously, this is now we got to look at this in the context of that supplement. We will go into more further details when the book releases because I need time to read them both. The Dogma, Relentless March. They do not suffer the penalty to hit when firing assault weapons. That in terms of when they advanced, and also they ignore the penalty for moving and shooting with heavy weapons. Also, if they're things in with engagement range of a unit with this Dogma, that enemy unit is treated as being below half strength. Because the entire point is that the radiation is coming off of them. So any ability that would give them stacking things in terms of amount of models that they have, they count as being below half. Also counts for objective holding. Because that means you've got more bodies than they do. Potentially.
Doesn't it mean half strength for the case of, isn't that the wording for Battle Shock, whatever it's called?
Combat attrition. Could also
Combat
be.
attrition.
It doesn't specify, annoyingly.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty
Where
sure
does
that's
it?
the only use of the word half strength in the 40k
No,
rule.
I think that might be right, actually.
That makes sense. Because the reason I thought about the other ones in terms of like other abilities that count by sheer number of
you're
models and
right.
things like that is because of their entire point is the radiation, and if you're within range of them, you're -1 to your toughness. That's
No,
what
but
that
the way
was my
it,
line
the way
of
it says
thinking.
below half strength.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, no, I just can't read. It's fine.
It's
Yeah,
yeah.
but like that was the entire point. But to be fair, Metallica have become they're very mobile. That's kind of the point. But you've got your heavy weapons. That means your rangers are going to be a lot better. Your Cataphrons, because they've got heavy weapons, but they didn't have the penalty anyway because they were on treads. You've got your Vanguard, because a lot of Metallica is Vanguard based because of radiation, ramming weapons, etc. But being able to shoot and advance without penalty, very nice, because you can just get them. They're just getting up the board. Cool. And then like you got them to chaff, and then whatever's behind them is the important stuff that deals with it afterwards. You've got Deafening Assault, which is that stratagem they're showing off here. They've also got 6 in the book, which is use it in the shooting phase. When a Metallica army is a unit from your army is selected to shoot, select an enemy unit excluding vehicles within 12, half the movement characteristic of that enemy unit, and they cannot fire, overwatch, or set to defend.
That was kind of neat.
That one's kind of neat, but Death Guard, ignore it. At least the movement part. But to be fair, just make things slower, because you do this on a
so they
chaff
can't
unit.
fire Overwatch as well.
Yeah, that's kind of convenient. But hey, a unit of Incubi is turning up. You've moved within 12. Fuck half their movement characteristic. At least, like, because even if that unit dies, because it's until the start of your next turn, so if the unit dies, the thing's still active. So that means depending on when you go, or depending on how you position yourself, you can just deny a charge and mean that a unit either has to fall back into cover, or sits in a really awkward position and you can just shoot the shit out of them. Convenient. Yeah, relic that they have is the Adamantine Arm, which is I love servo arm.
This is my favorite.
This is a servo arm. ×3 strength, -3 flat 4 damage. Makes each time the bearer fights, make no more than 1 attack can be made with this weapon. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, add 1 to the hit roll. You're hitting on 2s with this thing, or at least Dominus were already hitting on 2s in close combat.
What is the Dominus' strength?
4.
Strength 4, so it's a strength 12, AP -3,
flat 4 damage. Just,
but it's 1 hit.
Yeah, it's one shot, but it's like, fuck it, why not? Just servo claw them.
Wow.
I quite like this. It's really fun. It's really funky.
I do really like the sort of, I guess, not the fluff, but the imagery of just them really pulling back on this punch.
give them that fucking cartoon's wind up.
Like the full-on spin, just
Yeah.
whap.
I like the idea. It's just like you got this dude with an axe, and then the servo arm swings out of nowhere and just blasts you.
You
to
didn't
pieces.
see that one, did you? But it means also people might kit bash more servo arms onto their Dominus, which would be cool, because the only one that has that is
get the
Call.
rest of your attacks,
It's Call and the little one. So yeah, it's instead of one of your attacks. Obviously, we're getting custom forge rods as well. We've got magnet bonded alloys as a primary, so you take a primary and secondary. Each time a vehicle would lose a wound. 6, yeah, it's ramshackle. 6 up.
Well, no, not really, but
no, but specifically when it loons a wound, it could be convenient because like, you just get 6 up feeling the pains. Convenient. And then Order Savant Spirits. At the start of the command phase, each vehicle model within your army regains a wound. That's really good because it's just everything's just slowly healing. And then models with this Dogma whose characteristic can change based on their suffered damage are considered to have double the number of wounds remaining for the purpose of determining what those characteristics are. This only matters for 3 units, by the way. So your Archaeopters, it counts for your Onaga Dooncrawlers, and it counts for your boats. That's it.
you can make an army around that.
That's a pretty solid force in terms of...
I like how you said it's only 2 units. And
3
then
units.
Said
He
7
did
units.
say 3.
Yeah, I said 3. Archaeopters,
Yeah,
Onaga Dooncrawlers, and
that's like
your...
7 units, though, right?
What, the Archaeopter?
Yeah, you get 3.
Oh, yeah, but they're still all Archaeopters. They're all the same. It's just different loadouts. But they're all different data sheets. I don't know why. It's fine. But yeah, it's solid. I'm hoping for more custom forge worlds. I'd like to piss about with them. But there's some really good options. I mean, obviously, Stygies, less so. Grya was already low on the board, but hey, everything else is really solid.
And by far the best one, as far as I'm concerned, is freaking
Riser?
Agrippina.
Yeah,
Oh.
Agrippina.
I think Mars
just-
has an opportunity to just be better though, just because of the canticles are good because they're situational, so you get the buffs you need when you need them.
Yeah.
So it's fucking insane
I think
to just
Mars
have
will
that on
be-
everything.
Mars
Mars
is
will be
always a solid
interesting.
pick.
Mars
So-
will be good, but
yeah.
I think Agrippina will be actually.
You're actually gonna
Probably
get
just as
get
good, yeah.
more than just Mars. And the thing is, Mars was already super busted after Engine War because of the special canonical they got. You know, which was like, hey, all your heavy weapons are +1 strength. Fuck you. I was like, oh, okay, that
They
means
probably-
my Castellan robots are like now strength 7 with their guns.
Which they might still have.
They could still have it, but they
also-
haven't made any mention of it in terms of custom Forge World ones.
Yeah, no. But
So, yeah. Speaking of
what was it?
canonicals, shall we? Let's go over the canonicals first, and then we'll go back to the in terms of the ups and downs of everything, just so we've covered them all. So canticles changing, and we've got canticles being your Cult Mechanica stuff, most likely. So none of the Scutari keywords will get this, which is a good chunk of the army won't have these. But in terms of if you're playing Mars, they do get these. So there's your swings and roundabouts. They've given 3 here. You've got the Benediction of the Omniscient, which is every time this canonical is active, and these are only active for a turn, you get to reroll a hit wound roll and damage roll per unit. So you get to be Death Skulls for a turn. That's really
Master
good.
crafted weapons, just there, right there for you, which is already, widely considered to be one of the best buffs you can get in the entire game.
And
So,
hey, you pick this for you pick this for a turn.
yeah.
It's one turn, but hey, that turn matters now, and that's most likely the turn. Because most likely you'll get to be able to pick these. I think it may be done in a similar kind of order. Because if it is specifically the song, it might be like how you kind of manage the song. Could be that kind of thing. Saves you having to roll for it. Or because they'll definitely give you the choice, depending on. But it depends on how it works.
They'd show you them on a table if it was a roll, I think. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, but we'll see. We've also got then, say, the Chant of the Remorse Fist, which is each time a model makes a melee attack, +1 strength. That's really convenient, especially if you're playing a Riser or you're playing a close combat army. +1 strength's really nice.
Yep.
But before, this one was reroll hit rolls of 1 in the fight phase.
Make that Adamantine Arm strength 15.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's what I want. I want to do that slap
Yes.
a knight. And then the last thing we've got here is the Invocation of the Machine Vengeance. While this canonical is active, each time an advance roll or charge roll is made, roll an additional d6 and discard the lowest result. That's also really spicy. Obviously, you're not taking, at that point, you're not taking the +1 strength, but most likely you're using this in a turn where you need, for example, either to get into the middle of the board,
You need to
Or-
make the distance.
you need to make the distance, or you definitely want your Castellan robots to get into combat with those Power Fists, or your Breaches to get in and slap a vehicle. Or even when your Infiltrators turn up from Deep Strike and just fucking run at something. Because they've got a lot of attacks from tasers.
If you're playing Riser and you do all of this, that's so good.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Rise is going to be really strong. I'm actually really looking forward to playing a Riser list. And look, there's some of them there. Look, there's some really good options of what you can use these on.
It's a shame you can't do Riser Infiltrators with that, though.
With what? What do you mean?
You can't do Riser Infiltrators with that canticle. They won't benefit from it.
Why wouldn't they benefit from it? The Scutari. Of course they are. Yeah, I was like, so I'm still in the mindset of like everyone gets canticles. That's just the thing. But like, yeah, no, that's a fair point. There
might be a stratagem that gives you canticles for like a phase or a turn.
I think there probably would be. I think there's like you basically just strap a boombox and just turn it up to max for a turn. Like one unit gets something. That would be really cool. As a stratagem, it seems a good utility to have. But with those, we're gonna get 6, probably. But they're cool. And these are all more for the Servitor side and all the Cult Mechanica stuff. On the flip side, and I want to mention, because they specifically mentioned about the Doctrina Imperatives, which is what Scutari units will get. And it specifically says, and I want to point out here, The dulcet tones of the canticles just don't cut it for the Skitarii. However, a judicious tech priest or Skitarii marshal has to take a firmer hand. That is where the Doctrina imperatives come in. That's what I thought when it said about orders. Because the tech priest, it might be an aura thing, but they have to apply it to someone within range of them. That was the kind of the idea that I was going across. And let's have a look at these. They're built to have a plus and a... There's always a plus and a negative. So you get a benefit one place, you're negative in the other. +1 save for models in this unit. But on the downside, -3 to movement.
That's so good.
And it's movement
Yeah, like
characteristic.
I love that.
I barely see a downside to that.
It's not really a downside, but it's like it depends on it depends on when you need it. Obviously, timing being key, but in reality, if you're going to be wanting to put this on a unit that isn't really moving.
Yeah.
And in terms of a Skitarii thing,
but army wide, right?
Yeah, you got your dragoons. You got I don't know. I don't think it will be army wide.
We have no idea how it works. It could work
because
like
if your gun
protocol,
line
or it could
is
work
facing
like
down in a march, you might want to choose to put the bulwark to keep your vanguard alive and shooting.
Yeah, so I think it's per unit.
The fact that it specifies, like, your whole gun line is getting charged, but you're choosing this unit to stay alive, or this group to stay alive.
Especially because it's coming from a character.
I'm hoping the Marshal orders it, because I think that's the coolest way.
Yeah, that's what it implies here. So a Judicious Tech Priest or Skitarii Marshal has to take a firmer hand and activate them. Which is, obviously, that means that character has a point now, which is great. We don't know how these are going to be implemented. I think it's going to be a pick-and-choose unit. If they're facing down a Tyranid Hormagaunts, you got Protector Imperative. Now, Protector Imperative, in the original Advent Codex, was a stratagem for +1 to your ballistic skill, or +1 to hit. If you had the data tether, it was +2. Now, it's one of these, so it's not a stratagem anymore. It is +1 to your ballistic skill, and then reduce your weapon skill by 1, which is just good. Because most of the things you're going to be putting this on, you're not charging with.
Alright, so
that's insane.
Here's how it's gonna work. You're gonna need to issue it from a character. However, if you have a data tether, you won't need to.
Yeah, that makes sense. It could be a global thing. It could be. It's similar to how the orders work for guard. If they have the Voxcaster, they can do it at a further distance.
Yeah, but it'll probably be a case of it'll be global if you got a data tether.
Yeah. So, well, obviously with these, you've got to think about the units they're going on. You're going on to your Dragoons. You're going on to anything crewed by a Skitarii. So, yeah, Dragoons, your Chicken Walkers, just in flat out, Rangers, Vanguard, Onaga Doom Crawlers, the transports, the tank versions of the transports. You know, there's a wide array of stuff that this is going on to, and potentially being able to say...
Do we think that it's going to be core only, though?
That's a good question. That is a good question, because it hasn't implied it's core. But I think probably I think
it'll be a
really good question. Yeah, that's a really good question, because I'm thinking, what is core? Obviously, Skitarii, Vanguard, and Rangers are going to be core. Cataphrons aren't, because they've specified, implied it weren't.
I think Breachers are core, but
Destroyers probably won't be. Yeah. Because Onaga Doom Crawlers may be core as a vehicle. Because remember, if we go back to the Stygies one, it was a vehicle that's not core, which implies there are core vehicles.
It does.
So, I'd maybe potentially... Because of the whole, like, Cult Mechanicus versus Skitarii thing, that the Skitarii stuff is core, and your Cult Mechanicus is all your special bits. That would be my thought process for it. But it's hard to tell.
Anywho,
and that is the AdMech stuff. So in terms of what we've seen, we can make mention to the Crusade stuff a little bit. Obviously, where's that? Oh, what did I want to point out? The Skitarii martial traits. Here we go. This kind of gives an implication about what he does. Is often tasked with leading small Crusade armies, so they've been granting access to some interesting battle traits. 4-up invuln save. In your command phase, select one friendly Forge World Skitarii core unit within 9 inches of this model, or select a friendly core data tether unit. George is already on the money. Until the start of the next command phase, it is eligible to perform heroic interventions as if it was a character. There is quite a lot that has a data tether. Onagers have data tethers. I believe Dragoons have data tethers as well.
Yeah, they do.
So, hey, I mean, this kind of gives implication of data tether matters, giving them 2 unit. Anyway, Auto Caduceus of Arcan Land. There it is. It's now... What does it do now? Once a battle, if it's destroyed, you can choose to roll 1d6 at the end of the phase instead of using any rules for the trigger for the explosion. If you do so, on a 3-up, set the model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where they were destroyed and not within engagement range with 6 wounds remaining. What the fuck?
What?
That's
so
really funny.
You just pick it back up, this Doom Crawler. That's
Just
like
pop it
conking
back
out.
on. It's alright. It's outside. It's got 6 wounds. It's gonna shoot you now. Suck it.
Yeah, it's out of combat. It's got 6 wounds.
I mean, hey, it's cooler than what it was.
I love the idea that you give this Crusade relic to like a tech priest, just like a bog standard tech priest, and he's just like, alright, I'm just gonna like take 2 turns and just try and keep fixing this
I'm just
neutron
gonna keep
laser
this
and blast
fix
across
this
the
man.
motherboard with it.
Yeah. But those are the kind of the main bits in terms of the AdMech stuff that we've seen so far. So in terms of, as I kind of go back to the main screen, in terms of what we've seen in terms of the Forge worlds and how AdMech is looking at this point, I'm liking the fact, similar to how everything else has come out, that there are options now. It's not just, oh, I have to play Mars with Cataphrons to use Wrath of Mars because that's, well, with Castellans because that's how I win, or Riser
That
with
do
just...
be looking good, though.
Yeah, yo, it's, but the thing is, that's capped. Being able to give them extra rerolls is nice for, like, wounds, but they don't have damage. I mean, the damage would be really nice on their fists, because they're d6 damage. Whether they make them d3 plus 3, I don't know, but it could be, because they're basically big fists. So
They'll probably make them 4, if anything.
like a flat damage could do.
Yeah, it'll either be a flat 3 or a 4.
Yeah. It does really help with things that are like single shot weapons. So, you know, your neutron lasers, being able to reroll the damage roll for that and make sure that's fucking reliable. Good. Because I always take them. Well, I used to always take them and they did fuck all. It's
Neutron lasers do minimum 3.
Yeah, it was minimum 3, but I always missed with them.
Oh right, yeah, you did some.
I always rolled 1 shot. I either hit and it's fine and then don't wound, or I just miss. I'm like, oh, fuck.
or you rolled a 6 and you were shooting at old quantum shielding.
Yeah, true. That was fun. But yeah, right. Mars is a good one. It looks like it's not just the auto take now. It looks like it's a good variant. Obviously, giving canticles to everything is really strong. But I think there's going to be better builds around that in terms of when you're looking at, say, Riser and being able to, like, okay, I lose the canticles and everything, but I got a really solid foundation to build my army around, and the stuff that does get canticles is the stuff I need to have canticles to get into combat. And even then, your Skitarii aren't left out. They still have abilities.
Yeah, they still have
those
orders.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna have both with Mars. And you've got Call. It's still...
Yeah.
Mars is going to be
strong, definitely.
Top of the pops.
But I think in reality...
In the same way that Blackheart is still top of... probably top of Drakari.
Yeah, because obviously it's stuff you get access to, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the others are terrible.
Yes,
especially a Gripner appearing out of nowhere, because that was basically...
Here is that the others are no longer worthless.
Garbage, yeah. Because it was like before it was a situation of
game with them.
Yeah, it was like, okay, oh, I can do this one thing with Riser, but then it was hard to build around the idea of Riser. It was like, right, I'm taking Riser for the plasma, but then a lot of your other units that you'd want in close combat were kind of flimsy, or they weren't performing as well. But now with what looks to be a rebalance of the army to allow for things in close combat to really kick off, and also how strong breaches are going to be. And you want to charge with breaches because they have arc claws. And arc claws are good now. Or even then you've got, you know, infiltrators. Rust stalkers are getting a buff. They're getting a big buff in terms of their weapons. And and getting them into the combat with their razors and multiple attacks is going to be really viable. Electropiece, both flavors of them. Good options. The nice thing is like the more I look at this, I'm like, right, I can build so many different fucking lists off of it. Well, I can build quite a few different lists off of this. Let's not get too crazy. I'm not that creative. But I'm glad that this is kind of the indication of the trend that we've already seen of a codex that's coming out that gives you options. Hopefully there's not a stupid, busted, bonkers thing that we've missed out from Book of Rust, though. That's that. But to be fair, with Metallica's one, I don't know. I don't know if the supplement's going to really push them super high up. But it's there. You get some extra stuff. You can take House Raven for free. Well, not for free, but you can merge them into the army pretty nicely. That's cool, but...
I forgot about that. Actually, that might be fun. That might be interesting to see.
With
Anyway.
Metallica stuff now, and how the army works, plus a knight, could be really cool. I'd probably try that as a list. But then I also have to carry around an extra supplement with me. I know, I want to pass it to you guys. Because, George, you have AdMech. John, you've gone up against AdMech several times, and Alex exists.
I have had AdMech is an exaggeration.
You've had some AdMech, and you've played me consistently.
Yeah. I've got a Dominus and a squad of Rangers. But
Peter
yeah,
also
I'd
has
consider
a point.
getting an AdMech army, honestly. I'd consider getting an AdMech army.
AdMech are really
Yeah.
fun. I really like AdMech.
Yeah.
Only as Qatari, though.
yeah,
fuck
I wouldn't
everything
get any.
else.
I wouldn't get any. I don't need tank.
The Cowboys are out in force.
So, the Cowboys are good. I really like the Cowboys.
40k cavalry army.
Yeah, all cavalry. Actually, I think I saw Commissar Azura doing a tabletop thing, and it was White Scars versus her cavalry army, which was Rough Riders mixed with Cerberus Raiders. And
Rough Riders are good. It's a shame
Yeah.
they don't exist.
yeah, it's kind of sad. But yeah, I don't know, from your guys' perspective of what we've kind of covered here, what do you think? What are your opinions?
I like it. It's better than what it was.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, I'm interested to see some of the lists, which I think is obviously the best thing that we've said, and we've kept saying about all of these codexes that have been coming out. Have gone, ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
We haven't looked at all of the options and gone, like every time we've looked at any of these rules, we've gone, oh, that'll be interesting, or oh, that's fun, or oh, you can do
It's
something
hard
with that.
not
the
to
one
just to feel nothing. Like my main thing with anything 40k now is just like, how are they gonna fuck this up though? Because that's just like, as fun and I think Dark Elder's a good codex overall,
Yeah.
right? Because at the end of the day, it's a codex that will last through different metas.
Mhm.
Like, that's good, but also like.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't know.
it's the problem. I think we're both in the same camp. It's the thing in the back of your head of like, what are they gonna add and what haven't they shown us that's gonna be fucking crazy. I hope there's not that much. I mean, to be fair, the Metallica supplement was okay. It's all right in terms of what it gives you access to, but combine that with everything else in terms of the new book. Now looking at it in its full 9th edition context, it could be fucking crazy bonkers, and we don't see it. But that's what competitive gatekeeping Warhammer is for. They figure that shit out, and then we bring it here and we complain about it. So
Yeah.
So we just wait.
Oh, a trend I fucking hate in these codexes though.
Go for it.
Stop making factions that are anti-psychic. Just it sucks.
What a single subfaction is like, oh, we're the
What?
anti-psycho one. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
Because
Fuck
nobody
it.
wants to play the anti-psychic one, because who the fuck has, like,
One that
It's
many.
a case of
I mean,
no one's
most places,
going into
most
the game
things are
going
only
like, I don't
not
want to ever play against psychers.
Was it? Death Guard have got Psychers, and most likely they're out of your range. Space Marines have Psychers, but no one takes them because Chaplains exist. Dark Angels.
It's not so much no one is taking psychers.
They're not.
It's
There's not
that-
many of them.
They're good. They got good defense against mortal wounds, which is nice. But like, just spend the time writing more interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the
Well,
thing, because
no,
Briar was always in
that's-
that weird spot. Because they had
The
the same
problem
thing.
with
Oh,
it-
sorry, carry on, Alex.
The
before I
problem with it isn't that it's not that like it's nothing to do with psychers existing. It's to do with it's like it's not enough of a buff to make you take the army to take that subfaction, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like
But every single subfaction needs it. Just give the army anti-psychic, not a subfaction.
I would think,
Yeah.
I would think that there would be a thing specifically with AdMech to be like, we have a stratagem, we are able to deny our psychic power with this,
I
with
think
like a data
I
tether
think
or
just
something.
a stratagem would be fine.
But with the thing is, they have a stratagem, but it's locked behind a sub-faction that has a 5-up field defending against mortal wounds.
Yeah, rubbish.
Like, it's not great. And the problem is like that's always been that way since the fucking since the army came out. Grya was always like that, and it's not great. But then you look at everything else, like, hey, Lucius even looks fucking tasty, you know. I've never seen a Lucius list, like, ever. But now it's like, oh, cool, they actually have interesting rules. Like, it's a sub-faction I'd love to try. Let me just double check, because there was the Teleportarium, and it was, you know, +1 save if it's damage 1. You know, that has a place.
I mean, I was gonna say that will add up throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it protects you against Bolt of Fire, and like a lot of things have bolters stuck on them, right?
Yeah, or at least bolter equivalents
or equivalent.
Yeah, and again, it's a good thing to go against sheer weight of fire.
It's nice against Drakari.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
I think that's a really good thing. Like, right, okay, fuck it. Like, your splinter cannons?
No, not splinter cannons.
How much damage is the cannon?
The cannon is damage
D3?
2.
Oh, fuck, okay. But splinter rifles?
Splinter rifles and carbines and pistols and all that stuff.
And close combat. Close combat as well. +1 save in close combat against damage 1 weapons.
Yeah. And Admech have got good saves. Admech have got good saves across the board.
Okay. Then if it's in close combat as well, then that's actually much better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was just
if it's damage 1 and they like if a tank with damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to the model with this Dogma, +1 on the saving throw.
Yeah, then actually
that's got some really good implications. Like that's a good option. And +3 to all ranged weapons.
That is like a Space Marine shooting at a Skitarii is the same thing as a Space Marine shooting at a Space Marine.
Yeah. Obviously the toughness is like, but now that's the thing. It's like the toughness is still tough T3, which means they're wounding better. But hey, you've got a fucking 3-up save.
Yeah, you got power armor saves.
Because they have a 4-up base. No. Yes, 4-up base. And then obviously with this, you go to 3 and then go back up to 4. But if it's a standard bolt rifle, hey, 4-up save against fucking Marines is pretty good.
Pretty solid. It's better than
a 3-up save against poison weaponry, pretty good. And because of the fact it works on anything, say, hey, look, your T6, it's like your T5 Castellans Cataphrons that aren't dealing with shit, or they're here to go and blow up my raiders. Oh, look, I'm going to shoot splinters at them. Oh, okay, well, my breaches definitely will still have a 2-up save, so fuck you.
Yep.
And then, you know, if they shoot anything bigger at it, as I made the point before, it means that they're allocating fire in different places, so as long as you build your list in a smart way and position yourself well, so that you've got a wide board instead of a long board, well, a wide list instead of long, you know, you've actually got a lot of options there, which means that this works way better. It encourages smart list building and smart playstyles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And with that note, I think we're about out of time.
Yeah, I think there's not much else we can say. I know a lot of this was, you know, all talking about Admech and, you know, but hey, they're the codex that's coming out.
Enjoy your spotlight.
Yeah, I've got my spotlight. We had Lumineth we talked about for how many weeks in a fucking row? But that's because they were getting loads of stuff. Like, we were talking about all the stuff that's coming out. Admech are having their time in the sun. After this week, I'm gonna be pre-ordering the fucking codex Saturday. I'm not gonna talk about them next week. When the codex comes out as well, I'll make sure to keep it to the video, do my own video on it. But hey, fuck it, right? I mean, that's pretty much it. In terms of everything else, final announcements. Obviously, we have a Discord. Join the Discord because we need to use it. We're gonna put memes in there and stuff. It's gonna be great. So we gotta find memes. There's some good Warhammer memes. Some.
Alright.
Yeah, join the Discord. Follow us on all the socials. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Save us on the podcasts for wherever you listen to podcasts. And comment on stuff and like things and do all that nonsense. A couple of extra little things. The Lumineth video is coming. We're working on it. There's a lot. Okay, there's a lot going on in that book. The Soulblight Gravelords as well. We'll be getting a video at some point when I get the book this weekend. I mean, to be fair, we're probably going to be streaming a played game depending on how much is available on TTS at the time. We got to figure that out. But I mean, I'm going to be asking to play a game. It's whether the Vengorian Lord is on. If someone makes a Vengorian Lord on TTS, then I'll be like, 100%.
Most of the stuff is already on there.
Oh yeah, because it's already existed. But like, hey, I just want it's just because I want a Vengorian Lord.
It took the new Luminef stuff was up in like a day or two, I swear.
Oh, sick. Okay, great. So yeah, we'll probably be doing some live battle reports with that, trying them out live on stream, answering questions. That will kind of happen next week. So keep an eye out on our socials for that. Also, preemptive thing. We've been talking about this privately. That we are going to be planning tournaments if you're in the if you are within the UK and can make it to Cardiff safely, depending on guidelines, of course. We're looking to plan for tournaments for both Sigma and 40k in around October, November. That is the current.
It's a long way off yet.
It's a long way off, but it's just, you know, so it's recorded. We've mentioned it. Plans are going ahead. I'm writing things down. I'm approaching people, getting that sorted.
You're approaching that.
Like I said, Sigma, we can't really prepare almost anything.
Yeah, we gotta wait until the new edition comes out. We're gonna wait until the new edition comes out and go from there, and then plan accordingly from that. But hey, we're gonna be doing that. Also, what was the last thing? There was one more thing I forgot.
Hey, you're gonna end the podcast.
Yes, fuck it. God damn, fuck you, John. I have things we need to say. Okay, I'm trying to host. God damn it! Right,
Yeah, it's fine. We've got the main things.
Yeah. On that note, we are going to call it here for episode 18 of Off the Shelf Hobby Podcast. Thank you very much for listening, watching, or reading us with your mind waves, wherever you may be in the world. Hope you have a lovely week, and we shall see you hopefully soon for some more streams and also some more shelf-related content. Anything else anyone wants to add before we cut off?
Do crimes.
Drink water.
Don't do crimes. Or at least do cool crimes.
Eat your legs. Good night, guys.
Good night.
No.